Sean Sewell with Engearment.com podcast. Really excited to welcome back onX for the second time. We have Brian with onX, who's going to walk us through some new features that's going to revolutionize the app and how you use it across all three platforms that they have. So this is going to be a lot of fun, basically a masterclass on how to use onX and what it can do for you. So Brian, welcome to Engearment Podcast.
Thanks so much for the invite, Sean. I'm really excited to be here with Engagement and Engearment, and really be excited to just dive into all things onX and imagery, and really see what we could do to help your user base get more out of the outdoors.
Heck yeah, I love it. And it's cool. And if you guys are not aware of onX yet, they have 3 apps, and each one is catered towards a big part of our audience. There's the onX Off-Road for people who are looking for trails to go off-roading and camping and so forth. There's onX Hunt, which has been around for 10 years for you bow hunters and hunters out there, so you can find out where the property lines start and end, who to contact, and a bunch of other stuff. And then the one that I personally use is the onX Backcountry, which is for us splitboarders and backcountry skiers and snowshoers and hikers in general. But there's a new feature with Planet that's going to just blow your minds. And I don't want to steal the show, so I'll let Brian explain what that is.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sean. Yeah, we've gotten to know imagery, right? And the way that imagery impacts our lives. You might go to Google and turn on some Google imagery, or you might be planning a big trip and you're jumping into onX and looking at our imagery and how we the different types of imagery. But as we were looking across our imagery stack, we realized we weren't providing the full picture, right? A lot of images that you see in onX, for example, are taken as a snapshot over time, usually by a fixed-wing airplane, referred to as aerial imagery. And so we can go fly at a state like Colorado, for example, and we will have a currency of that whole state of year 2020, for example, and which is great. But then all of a sudden, 21, 22, 24 comes along, and that's now not, it's stale, right? Or I want that image every 2 years or some currency of that. But the problem is it's hard to fly imagery every year. It's not cost effective. So there's new technology coming out, new satellites that are allowing us to fly and get snapshots of resolution on even 1 day's kind of like viewpoints. You can imagine, though, getting a clear 1 day view of the US is hard, right? There's a lot of smoke and clouds. So what we were able to do with Planet is create a 2-week snapshot that gives you a look back in time of how the conditions are changing. Like, think about it from, man, I think the snowpack is still really good at Loveland Pass. Like, I want to go check that out. And you can just go look and see the past 2 weeks and go, there it is. It's still there. I can still go hit my line. Or it's missed. Looks like it's time to put away the split board, get out my boots, and maybe go try to get a bag of 14er.
Very, very helpful. One case I think what might be kind of fun in construction sites, or like a person who might be pitching or getting pitched on construction. Do we want to develop on this land? What does it look like? There's so many use cases for this. And I love the one about snow, because that would affect a lot of our audience, knowing if it's Loveland Pass is in, or Jones Pass, or what have you, or if it's time to go get a fly rod and go fish, make the most of their day off.
Yeah, absolutely. And hunters, they really look at it from this when you sort of see thaw of ponds for waterfowl coming in. How big is that pond in the spring, and how much more surface area will I have for the fowl flying across to actually see and choose to stop there or not? And if it's big, then that's where I need to be. Or even more so, with lily pad blooms will come and they'll actually take surface area away. And it's harder to fish when the lily pad blooms are in full force, and you can just see that. Actually, I have it pulled up. If that's helpful now, do we want to jump into some demos? I'd be happy to show it.
Yeah, please, Brian, demo it up. Let's show the audience what we're talking about.
All right, good. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I think I'm gonna need to share my screen. It looks like it's disabled.
Oh, let me get that for you. Share screen.
Perfect.
How about now?
Oh yeah, that is what we're looking for right there. Okay. And I will go ahead and pull this image up. All right. So I think we can all see this image right here. Yeah. I zoomed in on the Backcountry app. Let me see if I can remove. Okay, great. And I wanted to go over to, in this case, you're seeing the Backcountry app. Right now I'm in snow mode. Let's go ahead and jump on over to dirt mode, because we're more in dirt. I was zoomed in over here on on Vermont because I had planned this trip along the Appalachian Trail with my two little ones the other day, and have that over in my content as a route, and
That's
that was going
cool.
to go do with it. But we can explore that in a minute. Really want to get to this imagery piece. So let's go to from my understanding, Mammoth, California received a record amount of snow this year.
Yes.
Um, and my son was there doing ski racing training. So let's go take a look about how this imagery actually changed and grew over that time frame. All right, so here we are at the ski area. Down in this lower right, you can see our imagery. And the imagery we have on right now is what we call our default imagery stack. And you can see numbers up here, right here, this little 12.51. That, if you ever wonder what that number is, it's actually the zoom level you're at. So when we go in, you'll watch that change, right? Oh, now it's changed to 2.8, and it'll get into 14. And every time you zoom in, it's kind of a different reflection of like, what's the size of the pixels I can actually see on the ground. It's like,
Okay.
oh, all right. So when you zoom in with our default imagery, you're looking at about 30 centimeter to 15 centimeter accuracy on the ground, right? There's some flights that are happening now that let you see maybe 7.5, but beyond that, it's pretty rare. Now you can imagine our high frequency imagery, this imagery we get every 2 weeks, doesn't have that same level of resolution because, well, to be honest, that would cost a lot of money. So we have to zoom out to closer to like 13 and 14, which is more of a 5 meter type of a resolution to get that type of image. So down in the lower right, you see our image solutions. You get satellite, you have hybrid, you have topo, and now we have this recent imagery. All right, less detailed, but updated frequently. We
Uh-huh.
can turn this on, and all of a sudden our image will change.
There's
Okay,
some hope.
and now now we've got this imagery that reflects a snapshot in time between August 7 and August 21. There is still snow there
That's so helpful. That's
now,
cool.
right? And now we can go back in time and be like, let's start to explore where in this snowpack, like here's June 10 through July 10 through July 24th. There's still a
Good coverage.
ton of snow, right?
Yeah.
Here's the time when my son was here doing ski race training there. You can still see a significant amount of snow. And then obviously our current snapshots go back, I believe, until about March 6th. And you can see we are in deep, deep winter.
Yeah. Deep winter, prime time. I love March.
Yep, exactly. But as it goes through, you can start to see like, oh yeah, starting not yet. Oh, here's some of our first thawing occurring in May. And it will slowly, slowly start to become less and less snowy as we clip through our months here. And this is available across all of our different apps, from the hunt, from off-road to backcountry. It's an elite feature, so it's one of our more premium level of imagery that we offer. But again, it's so impactful. It's so valuable to someone who's thinking and wants to make sure that the conditions are just right before they spend all that time and effort to get there and realize they weren't.
Yeah. Especially like your son's case, traveling there from, imagine, Vermont all the way to California. That's a big trip. And it could have been a bust.
Yep.
And or like we were thinking
Good.
before the show, landowners can check on their property and see what's going on, what to expect.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's even a feature beyond this. Let's go over to the Hunt app that we to help round out this idea of what we do for imagery. So this is the Hunt app. Within the Hunt app, we actually have an extra piece of imagery. We have something called leaf off. And so leaf off imagery is really valuable for our East Coast sitting kind of deer hunting market.
Yeah.
Because they need to see, when all the deciduous trees are in bloom, obviously the leaves are out. It's really hard to see anything underneath it. But when we get leaf off imagery from the States, we're able to start to penetrate through those through the canopy and start to maybe scope out where is that rock? Where should I what tree should I put my stand on? Or can I even make out paths or old potential stone walls of the site? And so if you zoom in and out, every state doesn't provide really strong leaf off imagery, but the ones that do, we have available. For example, I think we were looking at Mississippi in this sense. And as you zoom in, you can see sometimes we say we don't have it, imagery not available, but when we do, you will be able to zoom in and see that imagery. And as soon as the states update that, we are able to jump in and quickly acquire and process that imagery. But let's say, as you were just alluding to, Sean, like what happens if there's a location that you know, the leaf off isn't quite the resolution I want. The default imagery is too old. And well, that high resolution is just not quite what I'm looking for, right? It's not enough detail.
Mhm.
Well, onX actually has a really great relationship to be able to acquire on-demand imagery. So what this means is you can literally task a satellite inside our app to take a picture of, we'll take a 4 kilometer by 6 kilometer image and put it into your onX account for you.
Oh my
And
goodness.
we'll do this within 2 weeks. And obviously, clouds are always an issue, so we make sure we don't get you a picture full of clouds because, well, that doesn't work out well, right?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I have a friend we're going to go stay with outside of Leadville, and he built a property. I think he would be a perfect person to use this image on demand. He's a very avid fisher and biker, and he's exploring his neighborhoods, as he calls it. So to see that swatch of land where he lives, I think would just be invaluable for him in his planning for recreation and also just in planning in general.
Yeah, absolutely. We're finding hunt clubs are really embracing in this, where they have a large tract of land and they just want to monitor it every year. It's part of their almost like portfolio that they can share with their other users. Individuals who own large tracts of land in Montana just want to have a good inventory. Where are their how's their fence line even doing?
Yeah.
Things of that nature to be able to, because this has really high spatial resolution, so you get down to that 30 centimeter mark that lets you really be able to um, get the detail that you're looking for to make decisions. And I think we were talking earlier about, yeah, like landscaping, like pre-post. What does that look like? That's
Yeah.
amazing. Like so cool to see that level of detail after you as you're planning it and then after. Because with us, you can also turn on these really cool features. Like I think I went over to Telluride to kind of into their our off-roading product, because I really wanted to kind of show this like 3D view, right? Where you can start to like zoom around and start to see like, oh, I want to go do this overlanding off-roading route. And what is this looking like? And what is my path going to be? And let me turn on some imagery and start to be able to like meander my way through this pass to see, oh yeah, so I got an Ingram Peak over here, and then I can go, oh, what am I even riding on here? And I was talking with Rory, the GM of Off-Road, and he goes, Brian, one of the most amazing things about our product is you can literally tap anything. You just tap it. It's in the app, you tap something, you get some cool information about that location. You go somewhere else, you get some information. And this is some of this rich information that we're talking about. Like, you click on this route, this experience here, of Black Bear Pass, and we tell you it's 11 miles, and you're going to get up to almost 13,000 feet. That's a moderate difficulty, a technical rating of 6 to 10. So you better have your wits about you in a decent rig. Takes about 2 hours, point to point. Best times to go there, and who submitted this actual information. So, like, Jeep the USA, like that's a reputable partner we have, and they
Yeah.
provide us a ton of really rich content. And you can go in and you could read the description, tells you what you're going to experience. These are all written by authentic individuals who are out on these trails, so that you can believe in this, you can trust it to be and not only accurate but just also inspiring. And you can find some photographs, take a look at the cruxes of what you're looking for. Really get inspired to go on an adventure
Wow.
with your buddies over the weekend, and know what you're gonna get involved in. And then we have our difficulty rating. So this is 6, so we tell you what you expect. We also have a cool feature called My Garage, where it's like, oh, trail ridden with a high clearance 4x4. Well, if you go into my garage and I happen to have a Jeep Wrangler, I can go and be like, ooh, I don't know if my truck can do that. I don't have 36s on this. I only have 32s, and nobody said they've done that before. So you can get really, really rich information about these adventures before you've actually even had a time to go do them. So you don't get out there and get stuck. We want to make sure
Yeah.
you go out there and have a good day.
I love it, Brian. And I was reading through the description, and I believe I read high pucker factor. So this might be a challenging one.
Yep, I think this is one of those ones that's there's some scary off-camera stuff, and you better be ready for
That's very helpful. So you want to
it.
like just randomly go take the kids on a 4x4 trail and get in over your head. This is very detailed and very helpful information.
Yeah, we we work really hard to go find that information that's relevant and accurate, and that's not made up. The individuals are doing this, and we have a really strong ambassador community that loves to just awaken that adventure in everyone by providing them deep data to make those dreams come true.
That's really cool. Wow. So in the off-road one we've used, I think about 3 years ago, Joe gave us access to it, and we gave it to some riders, and they used it very successfully to navigate some easy access 4x4 stuff, and took the kids camping, and they had a great time. So it's cool to see different ranges of people using the product and providing feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's grown since then as well as we moved into snow. You'll see these new modes that we see up here in the middle here, and you can turn it into like a snow machine mode.
Oh,
And
no
then
way.
once you do that, you get all these new kind of features, all this slope angle, right? We have
Oh,
avalanche forecasting
now we're
that lets you
talking.
be safe. Yeah, right. This lets you be really safe in the backcountry. So you can see where to go. You can understand where those possible slides are. You can understand the avalanche. We have aspect as well, so you can start to create different levels of aspect. And it's really the blending of all these layers that provide that aha moment to keep somebody really in the out of a dangerous spot and let them really have a stay safe and have fun.
Oh my God, Brandon, this right here, it's blew my mind the most. As a backcountry split water, always checking the forecast, and we work with the local forecast organization here, CAIC, Colorado Avalanche Information Center, and we do fundraisers for them
Sure.
and raise awareness on how to use tools. We do what we call a beacon bash, where we have like 500 people show up in an area with beacons, probes, shovels, and we have Moot, Ortavox, other people running stations, beacon stations. And I think this would be a very valuable tool for a lot of individuals to learn how to read the terrain, and especially with the color grading you have here, it makes it pretty idiot proof. And God, yeah, know before you go. And this is a super detailed, helpful tool, and I'm blown away by it.
Absolutely. Well, I think if you're gonna like that, let's look into the snow mode that we have for backcountry, because when we go into this mode, I'm going to snow mode here. And let's go up to up into Washington, where we've really invested in a group called Beacon Guidebooks.
Oh, we
And
work with
what
Beacon.
they
Yeah.
oh yeah, all right. Well, that's fantastic. So what we've managed to do with Beacon, let's zoom into like Snoqualmie Pass. There we go. Is we've started to create these zones in these regions. A lot of stuff on right now. Let me turn a couple different layers off to see if I can't. Got eights on. All right, maybe we'll leave eights on. Maybe we'll talk about eights in a minute. Let's turn off forecasting and let's turn off eights for now. And we'll talk about eights in a minute. So what we've done here is we've been able to go and find all these zones, right? All this information about Snoqualmie Pass from Beacon Guidebook data. And we talk about areas within this that are now embedded into the app that show you up, down, advice, how to get there, what are your descents in these type of regions. So sure enough, in this Granite North and Low Mountain area, you have this region, this Lake Bowl East descent, and you can start to see down here at Lake Bowl descent. It gives you some information about how to do this. These are northeast facing slopes. The runs can be linked to other tours. The distance, the elevation loss and gain, and it's point to point. Again, it starts to feel very similar to that guidebook data we were talking about in
Yeah.
off-road. It also has something we call our eights, right? And eights is this avalanche terrain exposure level that continues to grow on that slope and that aspect that we were looking for previous, but it starts to blend them together. And it was an algorithm created by a researcher in Canada that we've taken and blended into our product. So let's see what happens if we go ahead and turn on our eights level here. Okay, and then you turn on your eights level, you can start to zoom in and you start to get some indications of what are my slide risk probability in these different regions based upon the combination of slope, topology, run out, vegetation, and so on, that lets you start to take all of that with the current snow conditions that you receive for the year and really make that intelligent choice of where should I go backcountry skiing or split boarding today.
That is so helpful, and I love it. And I would agree that level, because I saw the 35 degree. That's getting a little spicy right there. A little, not for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yep, exactly. And so the green, we can click on layer details and get some more, like classifies the avalanche terrain to simple. challenging, complex, and extreme. Right. So in this case, we see this like there's some simple terrain run out here and
Mhm.
some challenging in the blue, but we don't have any black or red in that area. I bet if we pan around a little bit, though, we can most likely find some type of some black and some more dangerous areas that you really want to have your here we go. You
There
want to
it
have
is.
your wits about you, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's pretty darn steep.
Yeah, I would
Um,
not touch that.
yeah, right. But like, there are some individuals that want to know where those
Oh,
are and they want to go
yeah.
find that perfect day to go find it. And hopefully we empower them to it and hope they stay safe.
Yeah, some people love the steeps. I'm a mild terrain kind of guy. But
Yeah, my risk reward factor over the years continues to go down, right?
yeah, I just want to go outside and come back to the family.
Exactly. But this is just one of the types of layers that we like to that we're trying to build in, and we believe that layers, being the senior director of the geospatial content arm of onX, all I think about is layers. All I think about is data and how we can create more insights from all this different types of points, lines, polygons, raster, satellite imagery, and bring them all together to create this next like aha layer that helps everybody just have fun, and find something new that they didn't know before.
Oh, it's super helpful. Your hard work is paying off, man. It's going to help a lot of people.
Thanks, I really appreciate it. Like there's this to show the magnitude of where we are. I always like to go to the hunt layer because this is where we've been building the majority of our data over the time. That's our longest running product. And each state has its own just blend of data that you can jump into, and from again trail slope and mileage, but recreation sites. We have this new roadless area map that we just rebuilt, motorized roads and trails, forest visiting maps. You name it, we get into it. But probably our bread and butter is private lands.
Yeah.
And so if we go back to Vermont, let's zoom in over here. Let's see if that actually takes me where I wanted to go. Probably not. So I'm just going to pretend that didn't happen. Yeah, let's zoom all the way out. Go on up here to our Vermont land. And when you zoom in, you can start to go and see private and public. Okay, did not want to do that. But you can zoom in and you can start to make out your private and public landowners.
Oh,
And
yeah.
this really was the foundation of where onX came from, right? There was hunters in Montana and they wanted to they saw a mule deer or an elk, and they said, you know what? I want to go, I think I can hunt this. They look at the map and they don't know really where they are. Are they on the private side or are they on the public side? And it was all founded on know where you stand and make sure that you are not trespassing when you're hunting. You're staying safe, and that was really the foundation of where onX started.
Beautiful. And it's so cool. See, you can see oftentimes the people who own the property, so you can contact them, can get access potentially, and or stay away if they don't want you there.
Exactly. You can you can reach out to them and explicitly ask for permission to hunt or to potentially walk across their land to go on bag of peak or something of this nature. And it's it's one of our secret sauce. We blend together 500 or more different sources to make up data across the 3,200 plus counties that make up the U.S. And really work hard and diligent to make sure that we stay as up to date on those land changes as they come through, because we know how important that recency and accuracy is to our user base. So we have a dedicated team who's just always monitoring and looking through data to find out when, for example, Amanda sold this data and now it's now Sue owns it, and then you can go try to reach out to Sue. Maybe she's would like to continue your allowing you access to on this land to hunt.
So helpful. So cool. My mind's spinning because I know we have 50 riders on our team, and at least a third of them have one of your products or more, and they use them and they swear by them. And then everybody was so excited when I was getting a chance to meet with you on the podcast, and it's fun seeing everybody's level of excitement and hearing how they use the different apps to benefit their recreation and livelihood. It's outstanding products.
Great, Sean. I'm so glad to hear that the writers are into it, and yeah, I can't wait to hear stories about how they use it. I think the last thing, I know we don't have a whole lot of time left. I think one of the last things I'd like to just highlight is some of our new tooling. We call
Yeah.
it TerrainX. It's designed to start to give you even more visibility into different bands and views of like a watershed, or what we call a view shed, where you can change your slope angle, what you're looking at, where you want to look. You can
Oh,
create different slope aspects. It really just lets you go in here. It's just a play tool, really. It's like you can go in, you can zoom, invert, do exaggerations, make the peaks look huge, make them small, really hone in on different bands of elevation, as you can start to see, like as we highlight down in this little corner.
yeah.
Um, and it's really just like you can see as we go down here, like we're moving different types of shading around as we move and remove different levels of elevation. And so I encourage anybody to jump in here and just absolutely, again, so you can just see like you're opening up aspect of sun. So you can start to get sun angles and snow angles. You can start to see like, oh yeah, I really just want to focus on this really tight band between 9,400 and 9,900 feet, because I believe this is where those Dall sheep are really hanging out right now. And when the sun is at this right aspect, and my angle is maybe closer to to 51 degrees, like what is that sweet spot? And it lets you just find it and
That's
analyze that terrain so that you know what to do.
oh, that's so fun. Oh, my mind. There's an area I go to very often on Jones Pass, and then people joke they go there about once a week. They call it Sean's Run. I would love to put this on Sean's Run to find all the angles. I think it's about 27 degrees on average, but I would love to verify
Okay.
so I can show people like, okay, so we're going to take you on today's tour. This is the exact topography and what to expect. Uh, yeah, it's such a powerful product. In this,
So cool. It really is. And
is this in the hunt or is this in the backcountry?
this is in all three,
Oh,
actually.
no
You
way.
can see over here in the backcountry, you have this little button right here, and it's going to fire up TerrainX.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yep.
Well, that makes me
Um,
happy.
TerrainX is, yeah, it's still beta a little bit, right? But we don't want to hold back our beta, and we want our customers to be able to share it and explore it as well, and give us feedback, because that's what's important. But you can also see like we have slightly different UX inside backcountry.
Yeah, you get the
That
roads right
resonates
there.
a little, yeah. So it's a really, it's such a cool tool. Like honestly,
Yeah.
we have an amazing R&D team at onX, and they were the ones who came up with this idea. And boy, it's something. I'm really proud of that team and everything they've accomplished to be able to bring this into the fingertips of our user base.
Oh, it's so cool. I know what I want to do this afternoon. I've got a 2 hour break. I'm just going to play with this app and I'm going to deep dive it and show it off to everybody. This
Oh, that's so great. So great to hear.
is very fun.
You know what? It just occurred to me. There's one last thing. I think we might have time for it. Let me jump in, cruise over to this. I mentioned earlier, let's jump out of 3D mode, because 3D mode can be a little disorienting at times. And was the idea of how do you build a route, right?
Yes.
And so if we could go back, I think it's a really cool tool. It lets you start to focus on my content. Um, and with my content, I'm going to go to more of my region, because I will be able to build a trail a little easier then, because I'll actually know it. Um, so we have this tools feature up here. And what you could do is you build a route, right? And your route building tool pops up, and you can start to say, oh, all right, great. What am I going to do? And you can just click in here and start to build up different routes and say, oh yeah, I'm going to go here, and let's bring this back over to here. And you know what? That feels like a pretty good route for, maybe only 2.2 miles for my kids. It's like, okay. Or
Yeah.
you can bail on this, clear it and say, okay, clear that route. And then I'm like, oh, you know what? Instead, I actually want to focus on maybe something along the Appalachian Trail. And you can build a route along the AT, save it. And as soon as you save that, you can color code it, but then it just pops up right in my content. And again, you get more routes, you can hide routes. I built some gravel grinding mountain bike route the other day up around this lake called Caspian. That's just ready, just waiting for me to go tackle it on a
That's
Sunday
right.
morning. But I have them all stored in my content, so I just know where I want to go, when I want to get them. If you're more of a waypoint individual, you can just go ahead and build up a waypoint and places you want to go, big vistas, and keep track of different just kind of like locations that you feel are vital to your next adventure. So
Oh,
really, really cool new feature that will continue to grow up as well.
the silly question. You can do it on the desktop version, and then I assume it will sync to the app.
Correct. Yep. We'll sync up to each app. Each app has a premium mode as well as an elite. I think if you as your users explore the elite, they're going to find that there's some amazing partner benefits and discounts, ranging from 20% off Warren winches to big discounts in our elk collection over in Hunt at this time, since elk season opens up tomorrow. And Backcountry has just as many amazing partners that you get strong discounts with when you're part of our elite family.
Wow, that's great. Great network you've created. Super helpful. I have pages of notes I've been writing down as you're talking, Brian, of things I personally want to explore, especially in the Backcountry app. But for our bow hunters, the Hunt app as well. It's amazing what you guys have put together here. Like, truly amazing.
Thanks so much, Sean. I appreciate it. And kudos to you as well. I was looking into Engearment earlier, and just looking at some of the reviews and getting stoked on some gears. Well, I think the puffy one you did last year, I was actually in the market. I was like, oh, this is perfect. Is it the sweater or is it the vest? Like, what am I going to get? So, yeah, I appreciate everything you're doing for the community as well. This is such just a wealth of information right at the fingertips. So, thank you.
That means a lot, Brian. Thank you. I'm glad we could be of help to you. It's an absolute pleasure to get to work with companies like yourself and outdoor companies and show people how stuff works, which you just did for us for half an hour. You showed us how the apps work, and I cannot wait to deep dive into the apps and apply it to my weekend. I'm actually going to do the route. We're taking 2 kids on a little 2-mile hike to a lake that's stocked with fish, so they can see the trout.
Sweet.
Yeah. So we use your stuff. We appreciate it.
I love it. Yeah. Great. Well, if you have any thoughts or ideas, please just send them over to me in an email. I want to make sure we keep our customers happy. And really, like, the voice of the customer is what keeps us going. And when we hear stories, good, bad, ugly, like with me, that's what keeps us going every day. So we just love our passionate user groups, and I can't wait to build better products for them every day.
I love it. Well, thank you for your time, Brian. Thank you for everything you put into making this presentation. And I will put links below so people can go to onX and figure out which one they want to purchase and download. And looking forward to doing round 3 as you develop more stuff. We want to share with the audience too. So thank you for your time, Brian. And thank you for being on the Engearment podcast.
Thank you so much for bringing me the Engearment podcast. And Sean, I hope you have fun on your adventure. Thanks for that. Cheers.